Hello, Taurus. How are you doing today? It's so good to see everyone. Welcome to your June 2020 reading. I'm really looking forward to your session today because the energy this morning as I was meditating and tuning in, it was really peaceful. There was a lot of great information, a lot of great symbols that were coming through. So I think we've got some great stuff in store for us. I'm going to put Apollo down and properly introduce myself, say hello to everybody. So first and foremost, if you're brand new, I'd like to let you know who I am, who's talking here. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. And for everybody that's been showing up and supporting me over the past few years, thanks for coming back. Thanks for Ryan and Maria as well for showing up. They're my moderators. They'll help with questions as I get into this. Let me talk about how this is set up. I like to begin each reading with some psychic or channeled information. So I meditate before I get started, and I write everything down that comes to me on some index cards, and we'll be going into that in just a second. After we do that, then I'm going to use a regular deck of cards here to look at the high points, any of the challenges, all the opportunities in between, and then I expand that to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. As a part of the live forecast, I also like to look into something topical each month. This month, I really just want to focus on where there's room for healing or integration to be done. And a big part of the way that I read is to try to help with the soul, how you can kind of get closer to your higher path or anything that's getting in the way of you being who you need to be, basically. So in that portion, we'll be looking at past, present, and future influences regarding healing, plus anything that came through in the session right before. And then we do a meditation. And the meditation also comes from the imagery or the messages that we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. Everything that you see here can be used for your sun, rising, and moon. I don't always mention that, but I like to remind you just in case you're curious. And I think that's everything. All right. At the very end, I will talk a little bit more about how you can get involved with the channel, give back, support it, etc. Before I do that, let me highlight one thing, which is because we're in a live reading, I like to just kind of talk about Super Chat and how that works. I don't do any sort of Q&A or pick-a-cards while I'm reading. I find that too distracting, and also for people listening, usually you want to forward through that because it doesn't have a lot to do with you. But what Super Chat does here is it allows me to continue to buy new cards and show up. So if you like what you see, it's the equivalent of a virtual tip jar, and what you can do is basically click on this icon right by the smiley face and send a rainbow or unicorn or just really positive text saying thank you, and that's a great way to show support. You can also subscribe if you haven't already. That's a free way to show support. And with all that being said, let's talk about what's coming through, okay? First of all, also welcome to everybody from all the different parts of the world. I see everyone showing up. I hope you're all doing well. Good to see you, and we'll talk a little bit more later here. As I said, at the very beginning, I like to meditate and see what comes through to me. The first thing that came through was an activation in the throat chakra. And for me, even actually, I had to drink a little bit more water this morning because it almost felt like I had a dry throat. And I think that for some of you, there's this chance to start to speak a little bit more this month, whether it's talking about what you're going through, talking about any concerns that you might have about something going on at work or someone in your life. Using your voice is going to be integral to your happiness, to success. It might open up an opportunity for you. For some of you, as you start to do this, there's going to be like a truth revealed during this sort of communication. So either you'll do the speaking up or someone else in your life. That's kind of how it works if I feel an activation like that. So if someone else needs to talk to you, all that you have to do is to listen and really speak frankly, because the main message that came through as I was meditating on what this was about was truth. So literally that energy of the truth will free you of any sort of feelings of anger, guilt, sadness, isolation, and it can also free the other person. So I think that's a beautiful message. And again, this month, it's really important to, I just saw an orb, by the way. I normally don't, but I just saw an orb in the background. Anyway, to speak your truth, okay? Let's go ahead now and talk about the second message that came through, which is perseverance. And I think sometimes we feel like changes have to happen overnight. And the message on this, as I was kind of tuning in, was that I actually saw like a baby step or a half step. It isn't always about getting to the finish line. Sometimes it's just to make some sort of a movement or an intention, or to even start to, just believe that it's possible. So the second message from my guides that came through was to persevere and take a small step forward. And I think that there is no such thing as small. We could even just take that out. Take a step forward. And then like letting go of this feeling that you have to be at a certain place at a certain time is also going to be really important. A couple months ago, and maybe even last month, I've been talking about how timelines and goals and expectations have shifted. Some of them have even disappeared altogether. So we're in a new sort of creative time, and that can be exciting if you allow it to be exciting. It can also be frustrating if you focus on trying to hold on to something that has kind of come and gone. So your power this month is in your ability to communicate, to truthfully speak about things that matter. There's also power in movement, however slow, however small, just movement in general, of thoughts, of action. It's going to be key. And then I think this is the most important thing. As I was meditating, I just saw a smile coming through, and I wrote down, get into the frequency of love and joy. It doesn't matter what that is for you. Everybody has a different way to feel some sense of happiness or fulfillment. But if you're solely focusing on work, service, helping others, achieving, learning, and it's not somehow giving back to you, balance is necessary. There needs to be a way to bring some balance. Little kids know how to do this. My little dog knows how to do this too. Playtime is important. If I work too much, he'll throw a toy at me. It took a couple years. When I first got Apollo, he was a rescue and didn't have a big personality. But now he'll sometimes remind me, hey, Dad, let's get outside and let's do something. You've been sitting and talking to that computer too long. So if you are really, really busy and even very serious about what's going on, maybe you're working hard to finish a degree at school, maybe you're a health professional and you're just seeing like sad news all day. Or maybe you're just really concerned about the world and there's a lot going on. Changing the channel for a little bit is going to help you cope in one way, but also playtime is important. It's a decompression, the same way sleep is, and the same way talking is. So two of your coping mechanisms this month are communication and having some fun. You could be maybe getting into the kitchen and making food. You could be watching something that you like on television, maybe with friends or family, even if it's virtual, remotely. And maybe it's something else that brings you some sense of joy, but do it just because it's fun, not because it's on a to-do list. And I think that's going to help you. It's going to also get you out of this idea of like, I have to get something done by a certain time. And that's going to be really, really amazing. So hopefully that helps set some of the tone for the month. We're going to now look at the cards and see in much greater depth what's coming through for the month ahead. At this point, I like to remain quiet as I lay everything out, but don't worry, we're going to go into great detail basically about what each card is going to symbolize for you. And so thanks for being patient as I get everything set up. As I said, this is for Taurus. You can use it for sun, rising, and moon. It's for the month of June 2020. But because we work a little bit in advance, as we look at deep past and past, there'll also be some messages for this month as well. By the way, thanks for everybody that chooses to do a super chat. I will put a little thank you when the video is on replay later. I usually don't interrupt the flow of the reading, but I do appreciate it and I do see it, so thank you. I just saw someone did that. Also, if you're watching it on replay, you can go to my website and there's a separate place for being a patron. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being patient. And let's talk about what's coming through here. So we have a card here that was reversed, but I really love the message here. It says magic zone, and then it says the exhilaration of discombobulation. A nice $50 word there. But if we can kind of enjoy the chaos, that's kind of discombobulated means all over the place. I think what's kind of fun here is that there could be a chance to see things in a different way. It's kind of like if you have a bunch of puzzle pieces and you just throw them out there, you might see this beautiful pattern that you didn't before, because not everything's going to fit together the way it did in the past. So looking at things from a different perspective and allowing for this disorganization at the moment to kind of give you inspiration to try something new. Yesterday, I think, what's today's date? Actually, it was 2 days ago, marked my 2-year anniversary of moving. And when I moved, I had to rearrange everything. And when that happens, it can be sort of that feeling of how am I going to put this together again? But when you reorganize the energy in your place, it's amazing what that can do. So I think for some of you, if you can kind of get into that feeling I'm going to take these elements and do something new. That's the magician. That's the high priestess. This is telling you you already have the reagents or the necessary components for success, but you just have to reimagine how they're going to be assembled and when and where. So if you can kind of look at that clock that we were talking about or the calendar and think, all right, those old dates, I'm going to erase it and I'm going to try something different. I think that's going to be really essential to happiness. So manifestation is a piece of this. Believe in your power and your ability to make the best of a situation. And I think that's how you can take this card and turn it in the upright position. Okay. And guess what? We're all feeling a little discombobulated right now. And it is just a matter of not getting overwhelmed and trying to get into that playful energy that I was talking about in the channeled message here of having fun and being joyful, even when things are a little bit crazy. If I look back at some of my favorite jobs in my life, it isn't always the ones where I was the most, had the biggest pay or the biggest title. It was when I had a team of people that I was with and it was like a family. It was fun. And that made work seem more fun. That made life seem more manageable. So if you can just have a little bit more fun, I think it's going to help you step into your power. And we have the Fool here at the center. I was talking about the powerful healing energy that can come through with pets. Also with that sort of irreverent feeling I just need to take a break. The Fool, of course, is a card that would be associated with taking a trip, taking a break, having fun, not being too serious, adding some levity in a situation. I think that's going to be really effective and really essential. Even if this is a small walk, I know that it depends where you're at right now. There's various degrees of lockdown or for some people rolling back into sort of a normal cycle. But if you can walk, do that, because there is a really powerful energy that just comes from changing your environment. And if you can't, one piece of advice, especially for those of you that might be working from home, is to try to separate your different spaces. I live in a very small apartment. Literally, there's just basically 2 rooms. But the other room is for sleeping. And if I want to do writing or something there, I'll do that. This room is for work. And I kind of separated things off. So in any sort of area that I'm looking at, I get a different energy. So even for those of you that might be in a small apartment like me or a studio, you can do a lot with the spaces. And if you have an area where you work, when you're done, close the computer, turn off the monitor, and then focus on something else. And I think that separation of spaces so that it feels like it's new and you're doing something different when you're done working is going to be really, really important. I've spent a lot of my life doing various freelance activities. And when I first started, a long, long time ago, the hard thing was if the email was going late at night, it would sometimes distract me. So I try to have times when I'm on and off when it comes to reading and working. And I think that's going to be important for you as well. Have fun though. Have some fun. That came through multiple times in my channeled message and right there at the center. Then we have the Lovers here right on top of that. This is a message I've been seeing a lot this month, which is returning to important relationships in your life. It doesn't necessarily mean that, you have to this isn't always about dating. For me, the Lovers card is a magnet, right? And I talked before about the difference between the Lovers card and the Devil card. This is unconditional. The Devil has those chains on it, which is basically showing, I'll love you if, or you owe me this. With this card, it's basically showing this attractive energy, and people want to be in your presence because of the things that you've done in your life to raise your frequency. And we see a little bit of that here too, tuning into the, I'll talk about it in a second, but this is in your health card, tuning into the energy of love, something that I was talking about. So I think if you can get into that feeling like, I love who I am, I love what I'm doing, I love life, people want to get into that as well. It's hard right now because there's a lot of things not to love, but decide about like something in your life that you do find passion or derive joy from. That's going to be your way to really be powerful and to be effective and to be happy too. If you're looking for love, it's a month, surprisingly, where that could come through. Mostly though, I think that this is a chance to enhance, improve, and sort through relationships this month, and in a positive way. It portends very good things. It's a very positive card. So we have the Fool card, which is about having fun, letting go a little bit. And we also have the Lovers. If there is any sort of breakup or dissolution of a partnership, it's amicable from what I can see as well. So there's a chance to be friends. There's a chance to move on in a very positive way. It could also just be about having fun with people that you love. A little bit of detachment though in this. That's the Fool. It's a gentle Six of Swords, and I see the Six of Swords here too. So some of you may be even trying this out a little bit. Maybe the separation from something that you thought you loved actually reveals, and we talked about a truth being revealed. Maybe you realize that something wasn't as important as you thought it was, whether it was, a job, a relationship, or something that you were putting a lot of energy into. Distance gives you clarity this month, and observe it. And if it feels like you need to move on, it feels like some of you need to do that, and that's okay. There seems to be a peace around that that I don't always see sometimes when I see the Six of Swords. So there you go. Deep past. As I said, if you're watching this early, since I do forecasts about anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks ahead, this will apply to you now. So we have the Ace of Swords in reverse. Ace of Swords is auspicious, whether it's upright or reverse, but when it's reversed, there's some things that you want to focus on to really harness the positive energy of it. A lot of times this shows that you have a high bar of expectation for excellence for yourself. In other words, you can be very critical because you expect a lot of yourself and others. If that's the case, try to be constructive, try to look at goals and progress through a lens of what's realistic. And I think this will temper the tendency sometimes for communication to go into an overly critical place. This is where like the Ace and then Page, Knight, Queen, King, reverse, sometimes they get a bad rap. I don't mind though when people feel like they just need to speak up, and that is actually what I was talking about. This is getting straight to the point. So if there is something that needs to be addressed, don't be afraid of bringing it to a discussion. I think that's really key. It is important to state it though, and then pause a little bit and let the other person digest it, and also maybe set up the stage for why you're talking about it. Then you can just get to the point. But I feel like a little bit before, a little bit after, how you're putting your energy into that could be the difference between it coming off as insulting, critical, or abrasive, and constructive and positive, and something where you can kind of rebound from. Hopefully that makes sense. The other thing that I see with that is, how are you feeling when you get up in the morning? Are you feeling a sense of vitality and optimism, or are you feeling a sense of fear or anger or frustration? This is about resetting your mental and also sort of your mantra state. So if you can start with a new mantra each morning, like, I'm going to make today a good day. Maybe, there are challenges that are already in front of you because, like I said, you might have gotten an email the night before, there's a phone call waiting for you. You could use this mantra: I can handle this. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make it a good day. And I think that that's a really positive and practical way to change the energy and bring that Ace of Swords into a positive. A lot of you may find that June's going to be a really productive month for you. Three of Pentacles, so positive. That tells me that it's a chance for you to finish something up, receive recognition. If you're trying to send out written communication, that what you write will be well received. Again, maybe do a few revisions, because to me, this can be editing. And this shows me perfecting and kind of putting finesse to something. You can even see that here with this sort of like sculptor here putting his final touches on that. What's missing from this, because it's a a different version than Rider-Waite-Smith is normally there are people in the background that are looking and receiving and admiring what you're working on. What I like about this is it's saying that the main focus for you should be just doing something that matters, putting your energy into it and not worrying about that other person or those other voices because it feels like it's solid, okay? So anyway, as we look here at your crowning card, this is really about focusing on how you can be in the energy of abundance. And with the Nine of Pentacles, this tells me that many of you have the ability to take something, make it grow, and really focus on allowing for your own independence. So in the long run, you may have, maybe you've always thought of starting your own business, or you've had a desire to try something new. The Nine of Pentacles is saying you can do this, and it may take longer than you think, but it's totally worth that path if you want to take it. For the rest of you, it's telling me that you can take your existing resources and make them work. Independence is one of the key things here. So when I was talking about speaking up, I do think this came through also in Aries, that there's power in group consensus and basically group energy, even if we're not always in the same space. So get some other people involved, and you may actually be able to get additional time, energy, money, resources to assist you. So I see you being very resourceful. It doesn't always mean that this money's in the bank or this resource is right there. The Nine of Pentacles means that you can really make the most out of what you have. It's an alternate sort of read, and that's what I'm getting with this. It's also very auspicious that that's the only money or resource card that I have. It looks like it's good, so you're going to figure this out, okay? Now, with the Judgment card in reverse, it's interesting. Sometimes we know what we need to do, but we have a hard time getting to the point that we're ready to take action on that. And I think what you want to do this month is try not to overthink, because this can also be a card that shows that you're going too deep into a sort of rabbit hole or well of what if this happens, or maybe I should do this, or I'm not doing well enough with this. Judgment reverse tells me you already know the path that you need to take. And the Fool at the center is saying that this is your chance to really do that leap of faith. So both of these cards are reversed. Don't be afraid to take an opportunity or take that leap or try something new, and that's going to help. And the thing with the Judgment card is there is a chance for reinventing yourself. It's a death and rebirth card. A lot of times you'll see people coming out of the coming out of the earth, showing resurrection. With this one, we actually see a phoenix rising from the ashes. The other message there is if something came to you and it feels like it's bad news, so it could be layoff, furlough, that you had to quit or take early retirement or something. As we saw here, this gives you a chance to kind of throw out all of the puzzle pieces and think, how else can I rearrange this? That wasn't working. That didn't work for some reason. What else can I do? How can I make this feel better? And find your power again. Don't let that situation take your ability to manifest away. And really what we see here is the Magician, and it's just saying you can work on this. Again, there's a lot of energy this month around independent work and being able to manage yourself. You have a power card here in your ego position here with the Emperor. So it's not reversed, also very positive. Everything here, I really like the arrangement. It's showing me that peaceful energy that I was feeling is saying that if you don't get in your way this month, there's a great ability to make some great progress, feel a lot better about what's in front of you. Feels like there's a big shift here for your sign, which is great. So with the Emperor, you want to pay attention to the details that matter. There's a kind of gentle nudge to delegate when necessary, and to keep an eye on the big picture or the long sort of haul. Where are you really headed in, a year from now, 2 or 3 years from now? That's also part of effective manifestation. And if you look at good CEOs or good leaders, they're not just focused on short wins, because oftentimes a short win will in the long run cost more than you think, or short savings. It's not going to be what gets you to the finish line. So look at the longer term goal, and that's also going to help you with feeling all right about missing a deadline or working through some hiccups with your finances or whatever. It's about that long-term journey. And that's really what this whole life is about, right? It's a sort of like a overall batting average. Sometimes we succeed, sometimes it's not going the way we plan, but how we adjust, how we adapt, and how we do over the whole course of our life is what matters. So you've got this. Emotional stability, happiness, fulfillment, super important. It feels like that's the area where you need to focus the most, along with not being so critical with yourself and or with others. Finding the joy and the passion in your life is going to be important to being able to kind of roll with the punches this month as well. I can't ignore that it feels like there is some of you will be sliding into a relationship, some will be easing out, because we have the Fool, Judgment, Page of Cups, and Six of Swords. So that shows me sort of like a rearranging of core relationships in your life. So for some of you, that means that if you're in a job situation, for instance, there may be a new boss coming in. You may be leaving that job and starting a new one. You may be letting go of an old relationship and stepping into a new one. And of course, because we're going through a pandemic, with Judgment and with the Six of Swords, some of you may be experiencing loss in your life. And, with Judgment, if it were upright, it would be an understanding that that's the course of, living and dying. That's part of life. But sometimes it feels like, what did I do wrong? Why is this happening to me? Whether it's losing a job or losing a loved one, the pandemic affects all of us differently. And that's not an easy question to deal with. I think that what I try to do in my own life when I'm dealt a hand that I don't enjoy is I try to figure out, what can I do now? And, and then I allow myself a chance to grieve. We've all lost people in our lives. Or if you haven't, you will. It's just a course of living. But I try to honor the memory of the person that's passed, and I try to learn from their mistakes too. So when I've lost a few people in my life that I really, really care about, grandparents, uncles, my father, and I try to look at different things in their life that I loved, different things that I didn't love, and I try to learn from them. And that's how I honor the memory. And that's how I kind of carry on the torch. So that's my own little personal piece of advice, is to that thing that I was talking about, living in the frequency of love and joy. For some of you, that could be honoring somebody by doing something, because maybe they didn't get a chance to see you finish something. So do it. Do it for yourself. Do it for the memory of them, and celebrate them through your accomplishments, through the lessons, and through honoring their memory. Hopefully that helps. Mostly, I just want to see you guys be able to process whatever your emotion is. I think something that I've noticed with people in healing, New Age, metaphysical sort of conversations sometimes is everything doesn't have to be rainbows and unicorns all the time. It's really important to look at why you might be triggered by a situation, and to honor the energy of grief, of sadness. You just don't want to exist in it forever, because if you fast forward or sweep it under the rug, then you're not truly integrating the energy of that. And I was mentioning this to a client, and I recently just rewatched, I got to remember the name of it. It was the movie with sadness and Inside Out, the Disney movie Inside Out. What I love about that movie, I won't give away the ending, but I'm just going to say sadness plays a pivotal role and is often a conduit to happiness or joy. Joy was one of the sort of energies in the brain, and then sadness was one. There was anger and fear. I think those were the main ones. But what we learned in that movie is that every emotion, every frequency helps you evolve. And if you can process the lower frequencies faster, you can get back into the higher frequencies. But you have to get in it. And sometimes they mix together in a kaleidoscope. And so for some of you this month, you just have to figure out how to integrate that energy of not being happy. What am I going to do about it? And that's where you're going to push. You're going to take a step forward. Some of you are going to ask for help, speak up. Some of you are going to be there for others. The important thing that we see here when I'm looking at possibilities is you can totally manage what's going on in your life. You have two boss cards. You have the Emperor, which is the king, and you have the Chariot, which is the manager card, and is also about staying on track. And I think that's the important message when we're looking at possibilities is, if you redirect, if you channel that passion, whether it is joy, sadness, or happiness, into what you're doing, a lot of productivity is possible, and you're going to be able to move forward. But this is a gentle catalyst of a month for you, because many of you may just decide, I'm ready to move on. Whether the trigger is pulled this month and you actually decide to break up, quit, move, whatever it is, because the Six of Swords can also be moving, probably less likely to be travel right now. But there's this energy, overall energy, especially when we look at the near future and the future. Those are cards of moving forward, moving on. So as we look at the expanded forecast here, we'll see where those possibilities will exist. We're going to start with health. Health is your mind, your body, and your spirit. And this is a long card, so I'll just read it first and then I'll let you see the message. My capacity to tune into the energy of love gives me words that I need when I'm ready to speak up, the compassion I need when it's time to forgive, and the power that I need when I'm lost. A lot of words. The thing that I'm really looking at here is the energy of love gives me the power that I need when I'm lost. So speaking of editing, that needs to be edited down. I'll hold it up for those of you that want to read the whole thing. But I think that getting back into that energy of being joyful, or even honoring this, if you feel sadness, if you can bring a sense of love and honor to what it was that kind of created that. Maybe it's because you realize you forgot that you wanted to do something, and it's like, I forgot how fun it was. And sometimes we can have these tears of joy and happiness. It's not always one thing. So, kind of go to the core emotion and then get into that love. What is it that I love? What is it that I can do that will honor what I love? And as I start to put my energy more into love, everything else starts to transform. That's how you become the phoenix that rises from the ashes. Get back into love, get back into joy. You need to move more this month. I know it's challenging because, there are some parts of the world. I think I was listening to National Public Radio this morning, and the UK has just extended their stay-at-home orders. So as you're listening to this through June, you'll hear that. But when I see a lot of seated cards, it's showing me a need to break up your routine because it can be stagnation. Also to physically move, and your center card was the Fool. So one of the central messages here is to move more. Something I've started to do is a Zoom workout at home with like a team of people, like it's like a boot camp type thing. So that's a way to stay active, and you have that encouragement because there's other people doing it. So even if you're stuck in your house, you can actually move, and you have a team with you to kind of do that. So group classes like yoga or cardiovascular ones like I was just talking about, they're accessible right now. Do it. It will help. That's one of the messages. If you're older or if you're not sure about this, talk to your doctor. But I do feel like movement in general is going to be good. You could also just move things around. The energy around you, as I said, is going to be really helpful. Looking at wealth, we have sacred space. We were just talking about the energy of your space. It says, create an altar or visit a power place to connect with the divine. This card was reversed, which means that some of you may not realize the power and the importance of clearing your space. Something that I don't always have a chance to do, but I went through and I cleared every single card and everything that I have a little space here on the side. And maybe I'll put a picture on Instagram in my stories. But it was important for me to clear that space so that where I'm working, even what you're not seeing is organized. I clear behind me, I clear in front of me. And then I also use smudging techniques to clear the air a few times a week. So clearing your space is really important to being productive. And even if you're at an office, same thing. Go through your stacks of paper right now. Get rid of that old stuff. It literally weighs you down energetically. And I think that's going to be helpful. You might be surprised. You're going to feel more productive. You're going to feel clearer cognitively. And energetically, you'll definitely be a lot clearer. Also, if you haven't tried something like creating some sort of an altar or a place to meditate, to worship, very effective. The candles that you see behind me are real, and I light and say prayers before I do the meditation and the reading each morning for you guys. So it's important to have places that you can call in positive energy. It will help you with your productivity. And I know that that's not something we talk about in corporate America or traditional school, but part of manifestation is believing, honoring, and connecting with your higher self. So that's what I see here that will kind of open that up. For some of you, writing or journaling could be really effective at unlocking that. For me, the Three of Pentacles and Eight of Pentacles definitely have a connotation of writing or putting things down on paper, writing, drawing, sketching. You notice, though, that this is about working with your hands. So it can involve anything that is allowing you to express yourself. So whether it's, it could be sculpting, pottery, art, anything, even composing music, but somehow use your hands this month and get some ideas onto paper. And that's also going to help you in the long run. All right, let's go ahead now and move along to relationships. This is the love card. And this card's reversed. If you look really closely, it almost looks like an Ace of Cups to me. But the energy is all around the heart space. With this card reversed, we have both of your emotional cards reversed this month. I think it's really important for you to reclaim your divine right to be happy, to love yourself, and to do something that you love. Sometimes parents or society or a mean coworker can kind of step into our energy and make us feel bad about ourselves, make us doubt our ability to do something. Even like maybe it's a partner in our life too, says something that kind of hits at your self-esteem. And what I'm seeing here is you deserve to be happy. Whatever's going to bring that joy into your life, somehow take a step or a half step in that direction. And maybe it's a half step away from someone until you're ready to be out on your own. But I feel like this month, honoring and refilling that sort of emotional well that we see there is going to be super important to you. So you deserve to be happy. There's a lot about you to love, and there's a lot of love once you kind of honor that you'll be able to give. But this month, as I've been seeing with many signs, it's not so much about necessarily having to have someone else in your energy as it is finding that love within. And having fun, letting go, moving on. We have three cards here again: the Fool, Judgment, and the Six of Swords. To me, that's moving, moving, moving. So you might be moving towards your passion and also maybe towards a more higher version of love. And even if it's in an existing relationship, it feels like there's something you have to work through to get to that higher love. So focus on higher love this month, not so much swiping left or right, focusing more on what is it in my own mind and body that I need to change so that I'm not so worried about the validation of the swiping or the liking or whatever's going on with that. It's you, your relationship with yourself, that's central to that card. All right, looking now at your destiny message here, we have light activation, also a reverse card, but a very positive message. It says, shine your light. Your internal guidance is coming through loud and clear. So a lot of times, for many of you, that might be coming through in your dreams, or even just in those moments that you're not working too hard or not focusing on something. That little nagging voice at the back of your head that's saying, pick up the phone and do this, or you really need to quit this job, or take care of yourself, or whatever it is, that is also your intuition. And if you're not giving yourself time to meditate, which what we saw here in the productivity area and health and wealth rather, is saying, please do meditate, because you're going to receive those messages this month. And that's going to be able to guide you through all the other aspects that we saw here. So some really great messages coming through. Movement is the key thing that I see. So when we take a look at where to heal, it's going to see, how can I let go? How can I move forward? What is it that's either holding me back or can help me kind of propel into that next thing? But I see that your sign has kind of made a breakthrough this month with 3 movement cards, and I like that, because that tells me that stagnation is going away, which is good. All right, so let's review what we just talked about, and then we'll get into those higher messages. So voice is very important this month. You're being able to just speak the truth and be authentic with what's going on. For some of you also, there might be someone else in your life that's found the ability to say what they need to say. And in that case, you're just going to be present and listen. Understand that progress is not always about jumping to the finish line. Every step, every thought, every half step is what's important here. So give yourself an ability to just move the needle forward however you can, and know that that's enough. That's a step in the right direction. Try to honor your passion this month. Love yourself, love what you're doing, love where you're working and what you're working on. And if you're not, find a way to get there. Because we saw a really positive card here about being able to manifest. It says the magic zone. I really just see the magician, and in my mind, what I see is someone throwing out puzzle pieces or dice or cards like this, and you're able to make something new out of that, taking your personal sort of skills, your reagents of success, and putting them together in a different way. It's like a recipe, right? If you change up the ingredients or the order in which you cook, you come up with something new, and that's what's possible. The reversal is because some of you just need to believe in yourself. So hopefully I'm helping you get that self-confidence. Movement, movement, movement. Fool, judgment, Six of Swords. And it feels like you're stepping into that. So for some of you, that's what the perseverance is about, is how and when can I step away and move on? You could be moving out of a relationship or into one, or you could be moving into your passion, which as you focus less on external relationships, ironically, will pull in more people because you're magnetic. No matter what, I feel like you're going to be more in that magnetic energy of the lovers. And I think that's a great thing. Be constructive. If you are critical, think of possibilities. Focus on vitality and what it is that you should be working on. And I think this is going to be good. This is really about communication, both of these cards, Ace of Swords and Three of Pentacles. Don't be afraid to practice something before you talk to someone else. So if there is an important conversation to be had, this shows a little bit of editing and revision or practice. So have a practice conversation with a friend. Try to get whatever you need to get out this month, though, because feels like it's ready. It feels like it's already done, because for those of you that are watching it in June, this is recent past. This tells me it should be delivered by the time June is kicking off. You're very resourceful this month. The only card that came through with resources is one of abundance and independence. If you're not feeling that for whatever reason, know that you may be able to pull that in because you have a magnetic card. So this could be about partnering up with someone who can support you, maybe moving away from someone that couldn't. Judgment in reverse is saying you know what you need to do, but you're not quite ready yet. So take a little step in that direction, and then eventually you'll be ready to do that. Could also be dealing with something where you feel like, why was I dealt this hand or this sort of block? This is saying, well, there might be a higher opportunity. Sometimes the universe takes something away so that you can fill it up with something different. So it's like the three of these together could almost be like the tower, but it's unraveling in a way that was unexpected. So just try to move into that energy of rebirth, which is really what we're seeing here in Judgment. A lot of times you'll see Judgment even titled Rebirth. So how do you want your renaissance to look? That's really what that's saying. You've got two boss cards. One is in the ego, one is in opportunities. So you can manage whatever comes your way, even if you were made to believe that for some reason you can't, you shouldn't, you won't. I'm telling you, you can. It's just up to you how you want to do it. The important thing this month is honoring your heart, because it feels like for some of you, you're dealing with some pain, some loss, some frustration, and getting back into a place where you feel joy, fulfillment, possibility. That's going to bring you into your power. And then moving on, the Six of Swords is really showing that the whole of this spread is about getting to that next level. If you ever look closely, you'll sometimes see that you can see it here. There's like a little ghost here. And for some of us, this is who we used to be, what we thought we needed to be doing. It could literally be about letting go of a part of ourselves or a relative in our life. So there is a little bit of mourning and release that needs to happen. So we'll try to work on that a little bit in the meditation. When you get into that energy of love, it gives you that power, that vitality that you might be missing. So try to get into that when we're looking at your overall health. I also mentioned the need to exercise. There's so many this is a gentle exercising card. The Fool is about as gentle as you can get. Any movement's better than none. If you happen to be, the Chariot can indicate, for those of you that might be constrained to a bed or might be in a wheelchair, this is about finding other ways to work. I've actually seen that a couple of times this month. So, or seniors, it can be chair-based exercise. So don't be afraid to look for some sort of restorative, gentle exercise. That's better than none. And it's, for some of you, more appropriate because of the limitations that you might have. You can still be healthy and still be strong. It's really important. Okay, so looking at wealth. This is about nurturing, honoring, and also creating a ritual in your life. I really didn't talk about this, but with this sacred space, the other thing that you could be doing is setting up time in your schedule to create, to honor, to really be the magician that we saw here. So if you have a job and you're trying to launch a second business, or if you're trying to find a new one, This could be as small as like rewriting your resume, or as big as creating a new website, creating a business proposal, whatever. But every day you're going to put a little bit of energy towards that new path so that you can eventually move forward. It can also be literally about clearing and cleaning the space around you, so it is more divine in frequency. That's going to attract something higher. We talked at great length about finding things that you love, loving yourself, working on self-confidence. That's also going to help you out with your finances and your wealth. Love is coming through. So if you're looking for love, there's a chance to find it. There's a chance to heal. But I think you have to walk away from something in your life first before you're able to really embrace the relationship energy that's here. And finally, everything that's happening, even the stuff that doesn't feel fair or right, is there to help you get into a higher or lighter path. That's what we're seeing here with the light activation card. So you have some great energy this month. It's all transformative. Even if you're not feeling 100% ready for that, transformation has a way of stepping through the door. We didn't get the death card, but we got a lot of cards that would show the same energy of that, the Fool, Judgment, and the Six of Swords. I prefer all three of those to the Tower because you have a lot more power with those cards to decide how, when, and even if you want to step into the opportunities in front of you. All right, we're going to move along now to how to really deal with healing this month. And because we saw Judgment and the Six of Swords, for some of you, that could be how to release things, especially if you're feeling like you're not quite ready to do that, or maybe what's coming through because of that release. Let's look at the past influences first. Okay, so we have the Strength card here, which is another empowerment card. Divine feminine energy for sure. One thing that I see with this, a lot of times when I talk to a teacher, a nurse, a life coach, a mom, a dad, this card will come through because really what you are is you're in there trying to help people be their best. This is a nice Strength card. Sometimes you'll see that there's a little bit more struggle in it where you can really see the character opening up the mouth of somebody. Because we had that whole message around communication, speaking the truth, you can't make somebody say something that they need to say or say something that you want them to say. You can't force someone to do something even if it is in their best interest. Strength is sometimes allowing people to find their way to their own sort of moment of power or their own epiphany, their own aha. So use the energy that you normally would to make someone do something and simply set up the pieces so that, I mean, that's actually how you get into the energy of manifestation. You have to start to do it for yourself. So for those of you that are lovers, parents, teachers, healers, whatever, and there's someone that really depends on you, what you could do is reinforce your belief in them and say, you've got this. I believe in you. Why don't you decide? I know that you have, great decision-making ability. Starting to positively reinforce them is going to be powerful. It will not work overnight, especially for people that have been in a cycle of if they're really down on themselves, if other people in their life have abused them, or if they just feel like they don't have that self-confidence. You can build it gently. That's a lot more effective than forcing, making, or kind of being like a helicopter and trying to make sure that they're never going to make a mistake. It's not about the mistakes you make. It's about the recovery. It's not about how quickly you do something. It's about how much you're learning as you do it and also how happy you are. So this is basically saying step into your own strength, put the energy that you would normally put into others on nurturing and facilitating movement in your own life. Because as we look at this, it is about moving on and moving forward. For those of you that are parents, it might be weird though, because you're vacillating right now between maybe college students that are at home all of a sudden. And if you are a college student and you're at home, it's like, okay, now I'm back in that energy of not being my own person. So for some of you, it might just be about boundaries and finding places where you can feel like you're in control of your life, stepping slowly back into the feeling like you've got this, okay? But the Emperor, the Strength card, and the Chariot are strong control cards. So I think some of it's just cognitive, okay? Give yourself a chance to really take control of your life. Give others a chance to step up and be the strong individuals that they should be. And I think that's the main message here. Don't give up. And also, wow, you have a lot of ability to push things forward. I love the Nine of Wands. Some people may feel like this is an overwhelming card. For me, it shows resilience. It actually personifies perseverance. If you look at the headband on this person, you know, they've been, it's a bandage. They've been through some things. All those 9 wands symbolize like the school of hard knocks. Things may not have been as easy or as quick or as effective as you hoped they would have been. But guess what? You're standing your ground, right? And I feel like that's the important thing this month is don't give up. When I was reading for Aries the other day, I basically had a message in the deep past. I think it was 8 of Pentacles, and it was finish what you've started. For this one, you're so close to finishing, you can't, it would be a disservice to yourself to not finish. That's what I'm seeing with this. Stand your ground, be firm, be strong, be direct, and pick the battles that matter in your life. Let go of the ones that don't. If someone in your life doesn't want to receive advice or healing, it's not your job to fix that with them. Growth can only happen when someone's receiving or open to it. And if you are a parent or a teacher, or even if you have a parent in your life and you're kind of trying to help them, it's just a matter of setting out what's possible. That's what I do here every month. I can't force, I shouldn't either, people to do certain things. I just observe what I see. I set it out for you. You get to decide. And once you start focusing on yourself and fighting for what matters for you, I feel like you're going to make some great progress. Let's look at the future and see what you're headed towards. Again, I'm looking at healing here. So these are chances to move forward. Okay, this is about accountability and also cutting your losses. 7 of Swords. I mentioned a truth would be revealed. That's what this is showing you right here in the channeled message. I believe that karma has a way of dealing justice. It's not always in the time, the fashion, or the sort of like arrangement that we would imagine. But if something needs to come out, it comes out. And if somebody said something or did something and they tried to hide it from you, there's a revelation this month. And that's basically what happens with the 7 of Swords. They're not going to get away with that. And if you are just tired of the energy of somebody who can't kind of bring forth just being transparent, accountable, trustworthy, then that's what the Judgment and 6 of Swords is about. Like understanding, oh, I knew better. I should have paid attention to the red flags. Everybody, myself included, goes through those moments where you should do something, you should walk away from someone or something, but it sometimes takes a very big moment in your life to be able to do that. So this comes to me more as something about accountability or a relationship. And I would also say for those of you that might be looking at things like, contracts, finances, accounts, accountability is important there. It's better to be honest. So if you owe someone something or if something wasn't done correctly, you can make amends this month and you can make it right. And that's going to be better for you in the long run because it will catch up with you. So if you're the one that's not being accountable, be accountable. If someone else isn't, let them know that you know, and then just walk away from that because that also sets that boundary. Like, I'm not going to put up with this anymore. Okay. Again, what I like here in the center, which is showing the energy of now, is basically you are a survivor. You have the energy of being able to manage, to be a boss, to push this through, fight the fights that matter, walk away from the ones that don't. Okay. So really putting the energy into self-empowerment and no longer having an appetite or patience for people who can't show up and say do what they're trying to. Let me restate this. People that aren't showing their true colors. If they say they're going to do something and don't do it, enough is enough, right? Clean your hands, clear the plate, and move forward. Okay. Let's meditate now. And I want to look at a few cards here. Judgment, being able to kind of get into that energy of rebirth. That one speaks to me. 9 of Wands, being strong, being powerful. And then, of course, getting into that energy of joy. So let me write these down before I do that. So we're going to look at your power, joy, and also kind of what it is you want to see yourself being, like rebirth. Okay. Before I get into the meditation, I just want to say thank you for everyone for joining today. I hope you can stick around for this. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already, and like. I only see a few thumbs up. It does make a difference in helping people find this video. And we're going to get out of our bodies a little bit here, and it's harder to remember to do that afterwards. So thanks if you can do that now. I appreciate it. All right. Go ahead and close your eyes, get into a comfortably seated position. And I want to focus first on the throat, because I was feeling the energy there in the throat. So as you're breathing in, I want you to imagine that you're looking up at the sun and see a single ray of light shining on your throat chakra. And as you breathe in, feel that warmth and that energy melt away anything that could be making you feel like your voice isn't big enough, or you don't have the right to stand up or speak up for yourself. I want you to feel like it's actually going to amplify your volume. It's going to create a newer, higher frequency within your ability to communicate within your voice, and just kind of allow the light to go in and do what it needs to do. So we'll breathe in and feel the energy there first. Inhale. Hold that for a second and actually see it filtering all the way through your body from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Exhale. As you push the air out of your lungs, I want you to also see, not just from the throat, but also from any part of your body, any lower frequencies kind of push out like a puff of smoke. We'll do one more breath, and this time I want you to see the energy come through the crown chakra, again, all the way through your body, naturally going to and healing any of those spaces that need to receive a healing. Hold it for a second, think of what you don't want or don't need, and push it all the way to the edge of the horizon, imagining that like a cloud, it's going to just disappear and leave you clear and clear as the blue sky above you. I'd like to connect with the energy of the beach and with the water. I know a lot of us wish we could go back to that. We're not always allowed to because of shelter in place or stay-at-home orders. So imagine that you are at the beach, if you can, seeing a nice clear area where the beach has been combed. It's beautifully manicured, and maybe you have this nice tree above you, beautiful palm tree creating some shade. Lean against that and look at the beauty that nature has brought into your meditation here. Take a moment to smell the salt in the air as you take a nice deep breath. Feeling the cool breeze as it washes over your body as well. Connecting with the sand beneath you, which has been warmed by the sun. Feeling its warmth, feeling its radiance, feeling like you almost have, it's kind of like a universal hug from the planet here. Two arms that are saying, I've got you, you're supported, you can let go. And just let go for a second. Feel your back leaning into the tree, feel the seat of your body pushing into the sand, your feet, maybe even dig them into the sand a little bit. And for this moment, feel like I am completely grounded on this plane. If there's any energy that I don't want or need, I can give it to the planet and I don't need it. And start to feel lighter as you connect with the earth. Send a healing prayer towards the planet. It's starting to repair itself during this pandemic. That's one of the positive things that's coming through. So send it some love, send it some joy, and say thank you for being here, for giving me air to breathe, for giving me this tree above me to protect me, for cleaning the waters in the ocean. And I'm so glad I can be a part of this. Now I want you to just let go a little bit, allowing the energy of the sun and the sand to really be present in this meditation. With the sun, I want you to kind of go into the energy of the phoenix. So I feel like what we need to do is let go of ourselves a little bit and see ourselves kind of rising above our bodies. So imagine that as you're breathing, your body becomes filled with, suffused with light. And so much so that you can't really make out the shape of your body anymore. It's nothing more than just atoms of light, and you're shining as brightly as the sun. And with this energy of light, imagine that you could go into it and create a new shape, a new form. So I'm seeing this beautiful phoenix here. Some of you may want a different sort of bird, or you might want to just imagine that you have angelic wings coming out from your arms, from your shoulders. As you start to create this new version of yourself, I want you to feel like you can take form and take flight and leave the planet behind for a little bit. Go above the planet into space, into the higher dimensions, and get away from this body, this limitations, and connect with your soul, connect with the higher energy of your soul. As you get into this, I want you to remember something about yourself, kind of going into your cosmic lost and found, that you want to rekindle in this life. What was it as a little boy, as a little girl, as a child that you maybe thought of that you could do, a dream that you had when you were thinking of the possibilities in your future, that somehow you didn't get a chance to finish, that somehow society, your parents, or even yourself, you took away from yourself, you put that dream up on a shelf. I want you to take that dream and pull it back into your heart space and light it up with this newfound energy. Take a few deep breaths as we're listening to the healing bowl here, to the singing bowl rather, and start to push energy into this dream. And if you want to imagine that you're flying towards it, you can do that as well, setting the stage for what it looks like. If it's creating something in your life that requires more than just one thing, you can actually see yourself flying towards it. Otherwise, just breathe into the concept or the idea of what it is you're creating, and just the idea that I can do this. See the outline of your body now. See the light that you've brought forth. See this energy, this seed for the future that you've created. Take a deep breath and send that dream, that vision, that powerful seed of what's possible out into the future. Seeing it fly into the cosmic space, kind of like a dandelion seed going towards its destination. And set that destination as planet Earth, and see yourself following that seed. And this is commonly the way manifestation will work. You have to set that into motion first, and now it's already going to happen. You're just going to catch up with it. Allow this journey back to the planet to be a peaceful one. Take a moment to look at the stars that you're passing and say hello to all of the cosmic brothers and sisters that are out there, knowing that we are sort of created from stardust. We shined like those stars once, and that is our family. There's other life in the universe. You can say hi to that as you're finding your way back to this planet, getting a sense that there's more than you, there's more than now, there's more than the news. This is a bigger world, a bigger journey than this moment in time. Seeing your body on the planet, still being above it, I want you to take back to your body 3 thoughts. I am powerful. I'm stronger than I think, and it is my divine right to be happy. Create a ray of light, because you are the phoenix. Create a ray of light from your present position to your third eye, and travel through that ray of light back into your body. As this happens, I want you to feel an upgrade in every single cell and every single thought. I am powerful. I'm stronger than I think I am. Deserving of joy. It is my divine right. Really allow these concepts to resonate, to reset your thoughts and your potential. On the next exhale, gently open your eyes and welcome back. Thank you, everybody, for allowing me to read for you today, for being present, and for taking this step towards transformation. Be the phoenix this month. That's what I'm really seeing here for you. You have to make a decision, though. That's what judgment's about. So you have that ability to go into that space if you choose it today. Thank you for everybody that is kind enough to give me a super chat today. I do appreciate that, and I see some coming through right now too. Again, I'll call everybody out when I'm finished with the reading today. If you would like more information about who I am, what I do when I show up, all of that, the easiest place to get all of it is on my website. So you can learn more about me at nicholasashbaugh.com. I know that Maria and Ryan have put that link out a few times today, so you can follow it in the live chat. And also when I have, when this is on replay, I will post some links right underneath in a pinned comment. If you would like to get a little bit more involved and stay connected with me, I'd love for you to follow me on social media. You can connect with me on YouTube. Of course, if you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do that right now. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Subscribing doesn't cost anything. There's often a misconception. It just lets you know when I'm live. And the bell icon will also send you a notification on your phone. So if you want to do that, it would be great. You can hit the thumbs up too. It helps YouTube serve this up to other people. My username on YouTube and Facebook is the same. It's at Nicholas Ashbaugh, no spaces. And on Facebook, I use stories to remind you of upcoming readings. If you want to contribute in a sort of meaningful way month to month, you can also join me on Patreon, same username. And Patreon allows you to set whatever kind of contribution you want, $1 or more. And that, again, helps me set up the time, buy the equipment, all of that. So thank you for those of you that do that. And thank you for those of you that are channel members. I see a few of you here with the green text. Good to see some of you too. You haven't been here in a while. So thank you. For Instagram, same name, just a underscore between it, Nicholas_Ashbaugh. I use stories there as well. And again, just a nice way to keep in touch. I also post pictures of my life there. It's a little slice of life. On Twitter, it's Ashbaugh. And that really summarizes everything. Also, I am on PayPal. It's paypal.me/NicholasAshbaugh. All these links, again, are on my website. And if you want an appointment or just any other information, FAQs and whatnot, it's all on my website. All right. So thank you so much, everybody who's been a part of today's reading. I will be back again, we're Friday, so I'll be back again on Sunday. And you can look at everything on my website. Future videos are coming up there. Let's see, I believe the next one will be Gemini. Yeah, Gemini. And so I'll be doing that at the same time, but on Sunday. Thanks again to everybody, especially Ryan and Maria. I noticed we had a few people speaking up, so thanks for keeping everything organized. And wishing you all much love and light. Hope to see you again really soon, and take care. Thank you. Thanks, guys.